Wake up, think of something awesome, nurture it into a project, create it, post it and be done with it for the world to see and be excited for following days ahead was regular for me once. It happened during the global pandemic of 2020, me, a 19-year-old fresh out of being fired from what nowadays consider a prestigious career and will surely grow to regret even further as I grow older, a 19-year-old on TikTok passing the time as life unfolded, with a new apartment waiting for me around the corner and the delayed naivety of an old kid, thinking of himself as an artist before he ever needed to think of any other quality about themselves, full of hope and freedom to pursue a dream hobby to never, under any circumstance, turn into a career, unless it be under the premise and full transparency of portraying an slimy businessman, as to not pollute my art with financial interests beyond of the performative, as my left liberal social justice commie programming had led me to conclude was the stereotypical life of a person with a talent and sudden free time to do anything, anytime. An aspiring content creator, in other words, with an uncanny valley feeling to himself which begs to doubt whether I ever was meant to be anything besides an NPC. Over the next few years I would grow to develop a personality online, a wise, fun, unhinged scientist, philosopher, creative, striving to give back as often as I could to the community that had brought me so much joy and dopamine. Little did I know that this community would be carried away piece by the rushes of the algorithm, leaving me clutching at resemblances of the feelings that pulled me in the first place. And so for years during the pandemic this was my small secret. No matter how bad the day, I could always go back to my world and create, often for nobody, a couple of eyes really, something great or moving, or spectacular, or any of the things I knew I could do because nobody was stopping me, not even myself. Why would I try to anyways? But life got more complicated, and the world got evil. People with platforms had to take positions. You couldn't be impartial to any of these subjects, at least you had to have an answer when people asked you your stance on. Redacted. So I guess that messed me up a little. It did to all of us really. I first realized something was wrong during a relationship in 2023. Having a human person I had to talk to made me realize how bitter, self-centered, and argumentative I had become. TikTok commenters can relate, as it was a great quality to dunk on people online, yet somehow even on that I feel I failed to assimilate into it properly. I would not even consider myself a shut-in simply because I don't fulfill the characteristics in my mind. I would consider myself an incel autist degenerate, the autist part gained by Pulse. That. Too isolated to create meaningful connections on Discord, too scared of ego dying to even try to lift off that label. I was not going to stay a kid.
My age could no longer hide me, at most I could be disrespected by less mature but older folks. And so I imploded, the edges of my ego keeping my brain from spilling out as to avoid making a mess while my brain was melting. LSD, magic, intentions, and sincerity are a mix to get whatever you want, if you're lazy and don't want to get it done with talent, actions, time, and performance. A tulpa, a disassociated personality, and destructive thought pattern, an archetype, a destiny to be followed. Let me ask one thing of you. Put yourself in Oedipus' shoes. Would you have tried to avoid your fate? How? All I had were thoughts, so I flooded it. That's when I started to notice the patterns. People talking the way I thought, private thoughts being corroborated externally, fears confirmed, and a sudden unstoppable and easily provocable thought partner stuck in my brain feeling to plan to get rid of me to take over my body for himself, even if he wouldn't admit it. Meanwhile the fundaments of reality burning around the American world. Losing my sense of gender, being beatoed from wanting to be a man, and up until then only performatively being interested in fulfilling the aesthetics of my character online pushed me further under the water, which I am to believe it was the best I could have done, or could have happened to me. Truth is, we generate our own reality. I hacked the system and knew how to get whatever I wanted, but should I? No. What I'm trying to say is, I'm a pedophile. I don't want to die, or be persecuted, or go to jail. For time, I felt the surveillance over my actions, exacerbated by my punk-ass I do what I want remains of my personality. Do I want to fuck a child? Since I was a child Eve thought I wanted to have a wife and child, a wife I could preferably get rid of, so I'd have a sexual infant slave at my disposition, I'd treat her good. The whole point would be to fulfill my fantasies in an ethical way. Obviously I cannot talk about this with anybody. But I had to, so I did, kind of. Personally I'm aiming to free myself from this mook covering my brain. If I just manage to get this out of my way, I know it'll help. That's why, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for watching.